he turned into a zombie. But he didn't lose his mind. He used his zombie identity to grab a ton of food for his girlfriend and his best friend. But they totally stabbed him in the back. They said he'd eventually turn on humanity, and then they brutally killed him. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself back to 3 days before the apocalypse, and he was hit with this insane hunger. But the bread that used to smell so good now seemed totally unappetizing. All he craved was raw meat. He looked down and was shocked to realize the zombie virus had come back in time with him. Was he doomed to be a zombie again even after coming back? But lucky for him, he found out his storage space still worked. In his past life, he wasn't just any zombie with self-awareness. He also unlocked a personal storage dimension. Too bad it only showed up after Doomsday before. Zombies need fresh meat and blood to recharge and level up. Last time around, most animals had mutated, so fresh meat was super hard to find. Since he knew he'd turn again anyway, why not stockpile a bunch of fresh meat now? With that thought, he quickly called his assistant Liam, told him to sell off the company within the hour and use that money to buy up every livestock farm in the city right away. Soon the news hit the headlines about him selling everything at half price and snatching up all those farms one after another. Everyone was mocking him, calling him crazy, but only he knew this was just step one of his payback. Since Cindy was so worried he'd betray humans, this time around he wouldn't just be a zombie. He'd become the king ruling over all zombies. The next day, truck after truck loaded with fresh raw meat pulled up to his place. The sight was so huge it drew all the neighbors out to stare. They huddled together whispering, that much raw meat, if he didn't sell it fast, it'd rot in no time. But what they didn't get was that with his storage space, rotting wasn't an issue. This was his fuel for after Doomsday. Suddenly Cindy came rushing over all worked up, demanding to know why he sold the company without asking her. He was like, he just didn't have time for her drama. He simply told her what goes around comes around, and she should watch herself. Then he turned and told Liam to move all the meat into his basement storage, and made sure he knew within 3 days he needed the remaining 9 shipments delivered no matter what. Down in the basement, with just a wave of his hand, all that meat vanished into his storage space. All that meat and blood should be enough to get him to level 20 at least. Once the rest of the shipments arrived, hitting level 60 might actually be possible. Turns out after Doomsday, zombies could evolve. The more fresh meat they ate, the higher their level went. But back then fresh meat was so rare, hardly any zombies ever got to a high level. Thinking about all this, a thought struck him. He had a brilliant idea. Since he was already infected with the zombie virus, did that mean he could start evolving right now before Doomsday? If that actually worked, when Doomsday finally hit, he would be absolutely unstoppable. With that thought, he grabbed a whole slab of raw meat and started wolfing it down.